Hello friends, I am Dr. Deepak Koche, Professor, Department of Botany, Sri Shivaji College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Akola, Maharashtra. Friends, today we are going to discuss about an important aspect of plant stress physiology. In this, I have included stress concept, abiotic stress in general, and temperature stress in specific. So, let us start with the concept of biological stress and stress in plants. We all know that the maintenance of steady cellular state which results into stable condition of an organism is called as homeostasis. Homeostasis means the normal condition of an organism when all the environmental conditions are optimum. But if the environmental conditions changes, they become extreme, it can disturb the homeostatic state which results into the biological stress. Thus, plant stress could be defined as adverse effect of extreme environmental conditions on physiology of plants. To summarize this, whenever the environmental conditions are optimum, it will result into normal homeostatic state and that ultimately result into the normal growth and development of a particular organism or plant. If this optimum environmental conditions changes to suboptimal environmental conditions or extreme environmental conditions, it will disturb the homeostatic state and it will hamper the growth and development of that particular organism. In general, the plant stress is categorized into abiotic stress and biotic stress. Abiotic stress is due to extreme or suboptimal changes in environmental conditions like temperature, water, light, soil, etc. While the biotic stress is the stress due to attack of insect pests and pathogenic microorganisms like fungi, bacteria, viruses that can cause the biological harm to that particular plant. Nowadays, the third term is coming into existence, that is called as the anthropogenic stress, which is the stress due to human activities resulting into extreme environmental condition like heavy pollution and metal toxicity. As we all know that plants are always exposed to the environmental conditions and different types of stresses in the environment like abiotic stress and biotic stresses due to different microbes and pathogenic organisms. Now, any type of stress in plants that negatively affect the growth and development of that particular plant, and it is ultimately resulted into its low productivity. This graph indicates that when it comes to the productivity, it was observed that different kind of stress hampers the plant's productivity, especially of the crop plants. As per the report of the Spark by Beyond Agronomy, we generally bears the loss of around 70% in crop yields due to different type of abiotic and biotic stresses. So we have to think over how the plants respond to the different types of stress conditions. As I had already discussed that the plants are exposed to different types of environments as they are immovable and they have to face each and every extreme condition of the environment, may be stressful or normal, but whenever there is any type of stress, either biotic or abiotic stress, it has been sensed by that particular plants which is surviving under that particular condition, and on the basis of the response of the plants to a specific type of stress, they are categorized as resistant plant, susceptible plant, or plants showing certain avoidance of the stress. If the plant is resistant, it get tolerate to that particular stress, get acclimatized to that particular stress conditions, it will shows the normal growth and it will survive up to its maturity. But if the plant is susceptible, it will show certain signs of senescence and some other symptoms of the stresses, and it may lead to the death of that particular plant. There are some plants which show specific mechanism of the avoidance, stress avoidance, and those plants can survive up to their maturity. So, some plants show the potential to tolerate a particular type of stress or a multiple stress conditions. Such plants are called as the resistant plants. These plants tolerate to the stress conditions, acclimatize in the stress conditions, and survive as a normal plant. Some plants may injured by the stress conditions. They exhibit one or more metabolic dysfunctioning. If the stress is moderate and short term, the injury may be temporary and the plant may recover when the stress is removed. But if the stress is severe, it may cause no flowering, no seed formation, or senescence of the leaves, and it may lead to the death of that particular plant. Such plants are called as the susceptible plants. However, there are some plants which can escape the stress conditions, such as ephemerals or short-lived desert annuals. Some of the annuals which are usually found in tropical and subtropical conditions, they are also the stress escapers. Such plants complete their life cycle during the period of favorable season and form a dormant seed before onset of the unfavorable season. Such plants never really experience the stress of unfavorable conditions, and this strategy is called as the stress avoidance. Here I had shown certain photographs indicating the symptoms of different types of stresses in plants. Above three photographs shows the symptoms of abiotic stresses like maize leaf browning due to the extreme heat, stunted growth of maize due to waterlogging conditions, nutrition deficiency in plants. The lower three they are representative of the biotic stresses. Papaya phytoplasma disease, yellowing of this particular branch, then leaf spot of groundnut. You can see the circular spots on these leaves. Then citrus canker disease in lemon. So when we see the abiotic stresses, the major abiotic stresses are noted here. This includes temperature stress, it may be high temperature or low temperature stress, water stress, it may be excess of water, that is flooding or logging or water scarcity, and third one is salt or salinity stress. So when you consider the stress conditions, we must have to know the optimum range of that particular factor. So the specific range of environmental factor like temperature, water, salt, nutrients required for normal growth and development of a particular plant, it is called as the optimum environmental conditions. But when these factors exceed their upper or lower limit of the optimal range, they could be a stress or potential stress condition to that particular plant or organism. Here I had mentioned the effects of various abiotic stress conditions on plant physiology. High light or high temperature or heat stress, it usually causes the membrane damage and accumulates the ROS, that is reactive oxygen species. It may lead to the apoptosis of cells. Low temperature or the chilling or freezing stress, it alters the membrane properties. It affects the enzyme activities and tissue necrosis. Drought stress, it affects the osmotic potential of plant. It inhibits the photosynthesis and accumulate reactive oxygen species. Flooding usually causes the hypoxia, oxidative stress and inhibit metabolic activities. Salt stress usually causes osmotic and ionic stress in the plant and also accumulate the reactive oxygen species in plant. Toxic metal stress, it causes the cytotoxic effects, affect various metabolic reactions, induce organelle dysfunctioning and also produce the reactive oxygen species. So this is a short summary regarding effects of various abiotic stress conditions on plant physiology. Now we will see temperature stress and how the plants respond to the temperature stress conditions. We all know that each plant needs an optimum temperature range for its normal growth and development and its all normal activities like flowering, reproduction up to its maturity. This range is 0 degree centigrade to 40 degree centigrade, but for a subtropical region it is 15 degree centigrade to 35 degree centigrade, which is suitable for most of the organisms living in this area. The extreme high and extreme low temperature results stress conditions in plants. Above 40 degree centigrade, the plants start to experience high temperature stress. Also, temperature below 15 degree centigrade can cause the low temperature stress. Both high temperature and low temperature stress negatively affect the plant growth, development, reproduction and ultimately the productivity of that particular plant. Now we will see how the high temperature affect the plants. By research, it was noted that C3 plants are more sensitive to high temperature stress as compared to the C4 plants. C4 plants are less prone to high temperature stress. The extreme high temperature generates reactive oxygen species, that is ROS, in plant cells that mostly result into the apoptosis. It also causes injury to chloroplast structure. In this, it disturbs the thylakoid structure. It also results into swelling of grana and thus negatively affect the stacking ability of the grana. And due to the alteration in the chloroplast structure, it negatively affects its productivity. It also disturbs the membrane structure. High temperature increases the fluidity of membrane lipids and decrease the strength of hydrogen bonds and electrostatic interactions between polar groups of proteins in aqueous phase of membrane. High temperature also disturbs the three-dimensional structure of enzymes, and due to this, these enzymes could not perform their assigned functions. Such enzymes which has the altered structure or disrupted enzymes get precipitate and can cause severe damage to the cellular structure. This is also a negative aspect. As photosynthesis and respiration both requires a number of enzymes, the high temperature also decreases the rate of photosynthesis as well as respiration. Thus, it hampers the metabolic activities also. Now, we will see how the plants respond to high temperature stress conditions. So, it was noted that the plants develop waxy coating and thick cuticle to minimize the absorption of the solar radiations, to minimize the shock of high temperature stress. To avoid the effect of high temperature, the plants close their stomata during daylight and also reduce the water loss by this. Sometimes the plants roll their leaves to minimize the water loss. Some plants were reported to have larger vessels to meet the demand of water. So these are the adaptive measures which has been taken by the plants for acclimatization to high temperature stress. Now we will see the tolerance mechanism in the plants to high temperature stress. Some plants show high expression of antioxidant enzymes like catalase, peroxidase, reduce glutathione, and also produce related metabolites to scavenge the reactive oxygen species and prevent damage. So as the high temperature produce the reactive oxygen species which is causing apoptosis, so to scavenge this ROS, some plants synthesize the antioxidant enzymes and minimize the damage which is caused by ROS. Also some plants produce the heat shock proteins that minimizes the negative effect of the high temperature. Now we will see the low temperature stress. The temperature below 15 degrees centigrade is considered as low temperature. It could potentially induce the stress in plants. This is common in temperate and alpine conditions, but could also be seen in tropical as well as subtropical plants in severe winter season. The stress caused by low temperature from 0 degree centigrade to 15 degree centigrade, it is called as the chilling stress, while the stress caused by temperature below 0 degree centigrade, it is called as the freezing stress. Now see how the low or cold temperature affects the plants. So first of all, this low temperature stress usually results into decoloration of the leaves. The leaf of the plant, they get decolorized. Sometimes it delayed the growth and flowering of the plant. It also results into dehydration of stress in the plants, because in low temperature or the cold stress, the water intake is very less, and due to less water intake, if the water is not sufficient for the metabolism, it can cause the dehydration of that particular plant tissues. This cold stress or chilling stress can result into destruction of the chloroplast. Freezing stress usually result into the protoplast shrinkage due to extracellular ice formation. It also affects the membrane fluidity and cytoplasmic fluidity, and also the functioning of membrane bound cell organelles. One has to note that because of low temperature stress, water inside the cells start converting into ice, resulting into high solute potential and low water potential. The low temperature affect the enzyme structure negatively, and ice could block the ion channels, and these activities ultimately result into the slower metabolic activity. Sometimes the metabolic activity gets stopped and ultimately plant death can occur. Now we will see how the plants adapt to the chilling or freezing stress. So it has been found that some plants terminate their growth during winter to avoid the low temperature stress. They usually terminate the growth. Some plants have needle-like leaves to avoid transpiration as well as the freezing stress. Most plants in low temperature areas synthesize more amount of anti-freezing agents like terpenes and alcohols. It was reported that terpenes and alcohols are anti-freezing agents, and they were found to be synthesized by some plants which are found in the low temperature area. Some crop plants synthesize special anti-freezing stress proteins like dihydrins. This is also a measure taken to avoid the dehydration due to freezing stress or chilling stress in plant. Some plants shed their leaves to avoid the deposition of snow or ice on their surfaces. Now, these are certain supporting facts. It was noted that under low or cold temperature, level of calcium increases, which leads expression of gene responsible for stress tolerance. Cold temperature increases the level of abscisic acid, that is ABA, and jasmonic acid in plants, resulting in enhanced expression of their pathways to combat the chilling or freezing stress. It was reported that under low temperature stress, the level of gibberellins, ethylene, and cytokinin decreases to delimit the growth and maturity. So all these facts or reports are the supporting these adaptive measures which has been taken by the plants to cope with the chilling or freezing stress. Here I had given a generalized mechanism of the plants, or which is shown by the plants in response to the abiotic stress. So whenever there is any kind of abiotic stress, it may be a drought, heat, it may be a cold stress or salinity as a stress, it has been sensed by the plants, and those signals will be sent to the nucleus, ultimately to the DNA. After receiving the signal, the genes which are responsible for the stress tolerance, abiotic stress tolerance, they get activated and they get expressed. Generally, it includes or it starts the stress response mechanism, and this mechanism includes the expression of the detoxification agents like peroxides and superoxides, synthesis of aquaporins, synthesis of osmoprotectants like sugars and alcohols, chaperonin functions like heat shock proteins, and all these stress responses protects the cellular structures and restore the original homeostasis so that the plant can survive, tolerate the abiotic stress and survive normally and completes its life cycle. So this is all about the abiotic stresses, how the plants cope with the abiotic stress, how they respond to the abiotic stress in general, and how the plants respond to the temperature stress, high temperature as well as the low temperature stress in specific. In the next talk, I will deal with the water stress and the response of plants to the flooding as well as water scarcity. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.